So a lot of time we here at TripLaw get a lot of clients who finally get that US citizenship and they get that American dream, right? And now they want to help pass on that legacy to their spouse or their parents or their children, unmarried or married. And they want them to have an opportunity to come to these great United States and ultimately get their legal permanent residence, get their green card. Well, there's many ways to do that. You are definitely eligible to do that if you are a US citizen. You can sponsor for your spouse that may live in another country, or you can sponsor your parents if they're here already on another type of visa, things of that nature. So there's two ways you can do it. You can either, if they're overseas, you're going to do it through what's called consular processing, where you have to go through the State Department. But if you're here in the United States already on a visa, you can adjust their status over via USCIS's green card through familial relationships and based on the family-based preference categories if you're doing it through consular. So you do have an option to basically apply for them by filing what's called an I-130, and that's basically a form that shows that you are in a familial relationship as the petitioner for that alien relative. So that's the number one form that you have to sign and basically submit with all the evidence. We help you with that here at our firm. We also make sure that we do complete the I-130A if your spouse is involved, because that's for spouse beneficiaries, so that's such a very important form to also sign. We'll also make sure you have to have that G28, the attorney of record form, and then if they're already here in the United States, we'll do what's called an I-485. It's basically a long 20-something page document with evidence that we have to provide to the government and ultimately show to the government that there's no issues with national security, things of that nature, their address history, where all they have traveled. These are all things that are very important. So the I-485 is kind of like the meat and potatoes of your case. It is the adjustment status application that the officer will use at the USCIS interview. Furthermore, if they're already here and you're adjusting their status, we'll also do the I-864 forms, which are basically these forms showing the financial sponsorship. This is where they look at the poverty guideline thresholds, to look at your U.S. citizen tax records and things of that nature to see if your family is going to be qualified from a financial perspective to be able to be sponsored. We also do a work permit for them as well. It's called the I-765, which will definitely help you so they can legally work while this process is running its course. Now, if they're doing it overseas, then ultimately you're going through the State Department through consular processing, and there's something called a visa bulletin, and you have to look at the preference categories, and it does vary based on what country you come from. Countries such as Mexico, India, Philippines, countries like that, and China, they have a longer priority dates and priority times. But if they're in other countries, then there's an all other countries list, and you have to look at that priority date. When your priority date comes up, you are now eligible to then apply for that visa interview and ultimately give that visa interview at the embassy, the U.S. embassy in your home country. So there's so many ways to do this. Please give us a call. Immigration law has gotten a lot more complicated. There's a lot of different rule changes, such as the public charge rule. There's a lot of different things involving finances and background checks and criminal history and a lot of these different things that you definitely want to make sure you do correctly. So student visas, people that are going from one place to another and then they suddenly get their citizenship and hey, they're like, I want to bring my family over. You can do that. So give us a call. We're more than happy to help you, and we look forward to guiding you through this immigration journey.